The janitor's mop bucket squeaked softly across the polished floor of Fort Bragg's command center. The night was still, except for the distant hum of generators and the faint echo of boots on tile. James Walker, 46, gray at the temples, a quiet man with the kind of eyes that had seen too much, moved like he belonged to the shadows. His faded coveralls bore one word stitched over his chest pocket: maintenance. To most who passed him, he was invisible, just another janitor, just another man cleaning up after soldiers and generals who never gave him a second glance. But James didn't mind. The broom, the mop, the quiet. All of it was a comfort compared to the chaos of the past. The security door slid open behind him, and the sound of laughter broke the silence. A group of officers entered the hallway, still in their crisp uniforms, joking after a long strategy session. Among them was General Mason, a broad, shouldered man with silver hair and a chest full of ribbons. He was known for being sharp, proud, and a bit of a perfectionist. Mason's eyes caught the janitor. "You missed a spot, Chief," he said with a grin. The others chuckled. James looked up briefly, offered a polite smile, and nodded. "Yes, sir, I'll get it." But the general wasn't done. "You've been here a while, haven't you? What's your name again?" "James Walker, sir." "Walker, huh?" Mason smirked. "You've got that posture. Straight back, quiet eyes. You look like someone who used to be military, am I right?" There was a flicker in James's gaze, something like memory, something like pain, but it vanished as quickly as it came. "I served, yes, sir, long time ago." One of the younger captains leaned against the wall. "What branch?" "Air Force," James said simply. The officers exchanged a look. General Mason, curious now, stepped closer. "What was your call sign?" The question hung in the air. The janitor paused mid-swipe. The fluorescent light above flickered, humming faintly as if the world itself held its breath. When James finally spoke, his voice was low, calm, iron ghost. The laughter died instantly. The room fell into a stunned silence. Mason's face went pale. The younger officers looked at each other in confusion until one of them whispered, "Wait." The iron ghost. The general's jaw clenched. He stared at James as though seeing him for the first time. "That can't be," Mason muttered. "Iron Ghost was classified. He vanished during Black Dagger. Everyone thought he was dead." James finished softly. "Yeah, that's what they told everyone." The captains straightened immediately, their posture snapping to attention. One of them whispered, "Sir, is he talking about the Black Dagger operation, the one in Kunar province?" Mason didn't answer. He just kept staring. "You led the recon team that went dark. 36 men in, only 2 bodies recovered." James dipped the mop in his bucket again. 36 in, 1 out. The hallway went still. The hum of the generator sounded louder than before, pressing on their ears. "Why didn't you?" Mason began. "Come back." James interrupted. He wrung out the mop, his eyes unfocused. Because coming back meant explaining why 35 didn't. For a long moment nobody spoke, then Mason's tone softened. "Walker, you saved lives. You were a ghost. Intel says your reports changed 6 operations. You were a legend." James gave a faint, tired smile. "Legends are for people who make it out clean, sir. I didn't." The young captain shifted awkwardly. "So, what happened after the mission?" James's gaze drifted to the floor. "The enemy had us surrounded in the mountains. Radio was dead. Weather turned. We had one evac window, 15 minutes. My men fought like hell to make it. But when the chopper came, they were already gone. I dragged what was left of them into cover, gave the pilot our coordinates, but..." His voice trailed off. By the time they came back, it was just me, the Iron Ghost. General Mason exhaled slowly, running a hand over his face. "We thought you were KA. They held a memorial at Arlington." "I know," James said quietly. "My daughter went. She was 8. That hit harder than anything else." The officers' faces fell. "Your daughter?" Mason asked. "Yeah, she's why I came back, but I didn't fit anymore. Couldn't sleep, couldn't stand crowds. The Air Force offered a desk job. I couldn't handle it. I just wanted quiet. And now you mop floors," one of the captains said, almost apologetically. James shrugged. "Floors don't scream at night. Floors don't bleed. They just stay clean if you do your job right." The general's throat tightened. For the first time, the rank on his shoulder felt small compared to the weight the janitor carried. "Walker," he said softly, "you deserve more than this. I've had more than most, James replied. I've got my daughter. She's in college now, engineering. That's enough. But Mason wasn't ready to let it go. You saved this base once, you know that. The new encryption system. Those protocols were built from your original field algorithm. Iron Ghost's code. James gave a faint chuckle. Guess the ghost still haunts the place. The general's comms device buzzed, breaking the moment. He glanced at the alert, his face turning grim. There's a situation, he said to his officers. Perimeter breach. Training simulation's been compromised. Sir, it's the red alert zone. One of them said, we can't access the system. Someone locked out command input. Mason cursed. We need the old clearance key level black. James looked up, almost amused. Still using level black. The general blinked. You remember the code protocols? I wrote them, James said. Without another word, he walked to the nearest console, typed a sequence of numbers that hadn't been used in years, and hit enter. The screen flashed green. Access granted. Every head turned toward him. How the hell did you just? The captain started. James smiled faintly. Ghosts leave back doors. The general barked an order, lock it down, now. The alarm stopped and the tension broke. Mason turned back to James, shaking his head in disbelief. You just saved us from a full security shutdown. Just muscle memory, James said, picking up his mop again. Mason stepped forward and gripped his shoulder. You may not wear the uniform anymore, but you're still one of us. Hell, you're better than most of us. For a moment, the janitor's mask slipped. A flicker of pride, no relief, crossed his face. That means something coming from you, sir. The general nodded. I'm reinstating your clearance, at least honorary. You deserve that respect. Don't need it, James said, shaking his head. I'm good where I am. My daughter graduates next year. That's my mission now. Mason hesitated. At least let me buy you dinner, for old time's sake. James smiled. Maybe another night. Ghosts don't do well in crowds. The general chuckled softly, eyes wet with a mix of guilt and admiration. You always were a damn mystery. James turned back to his bucket, wringing out the mop once more. That's what ghosts are for, sir, to remind the living. Mason looked around at his officers, then back at the man before him. The man who'd once saved a country, now cleaning its floors. Carry on, Iron Ghost, he said quietly. James nodded. Always do. As they walked away, the general couldn't shake the chill crawling up his spine. The name Iron Ghost echoed in his mind. Once a whispered legend in classified files, now mopping the hallway of the very base he'd once saved. When the corridor was empty again, James leaned against his mop handle, looking at his reflection in the polished floor. For a moment, he saw the man he'd been, helmet on, radio crackling, gunfire in the distance. Then he blinked and it was just him again. He sighed softly. Rest easy, boys, he murmured, mission still clean. And with that, the Iron Ghost faded once more into silence, just another shadow in the halls of Fort Bragg.